finished in the garden, officially furloughed, so I'm doing my contracted hours. It's Tuesday. There's no Back to Life sessions this evening, which is a radio show that I do, for those of you that didn't know. I'm probably the most famous DJ you haven't heard of. Anyway, that's not the purpose of today. The purpose of today is to kind of, well, tomorrow afternoon, I've got probably one of the world's leading authorities on membrane technology is joining me here. I've got probably one of the most legendary event crew, sort of workmanship, pair of hands meeting me here tomorrow. And we are going to install the portable well into a vintage camper van. Yeah. So, what is a portable well? Well, before we talk about what is a portable well, let's talk about why is a portable well. Why is a portable well? Well, the portable well, let me assure you of one thing. When you drop a pebble into the water and the ripples come out, it's deep, it's meaningful, but let me assure you of one thing. The portable well is not the stone, this is my response, this is my ripple, and that stone that hit the water, I'd like to thank the people of Glastonbury Festival for that. I'd like to thank Michael Levis, all of them, everybody at Glastonbury Festival that got together and decided that what we're going to do is we're going to drop a pebble in the water and we are going to eradicate single-use plastics for drinking water at our festival site. Now that got me thinking. About a number of things. Now the good things about certain innovations is I've always found that the best innovations that I see are ones that are simply responses. So the portable well, as it is, if it's going to be any good, is because it's a response to a couple of necessary things. So the necessary things are this: Glastonbury Festival. So what's the alternative? What's the alternative to saying no single-use plastics? So what's been happening up until now is you've been having an event and people have come along and they've got their 5 litres or 10 litres of water because they know that standpipes aren't any good. We'll come back to that. And then of course they drink it all, have a great time and go, by the way, can you deal with our rubbish? So that's one issue. That's probably the main issue. I know that there's a published document, The Show Must Go On, and there's a big section of that covers the recyclable waste that festivals create. There's nothing in there that really looks at just the single-use plastics, but both me and you know that that's an important factor when it comes. So the first thing that Glastonbury have managed to do is they've managed to raise a question of, okay, the eradication of single-use plastics, brilliant, okay, so you put that in that box. The second question I had was kind of like, okay, so what's the alternative? So the alternative is to use the local source. Sorry about that, a bit of a quick note. This is live and I don't do second rehearsal, so this is it. I'm of the opinion if you don't rehearse you can't get it wrong, so there's no edits, it's just me rattling on in the garden because I just thought I had something to say to you today. So then we get back to the issue of standpipe water. Now, before the water gets to the standpipe water, it is dealt with by the municipal water company, so we'll just use Wessex Water for argument's sake. Now, well done for Wessex Water, they do a very good job. Us in this country, we have one of the best water systems around, but that doesn't mean it's any good. Just because it's one of the best that's in the world doesn't particularly mean that it is serving the needs of our body in a correct and functionable way. And what do I mean by that? So before we get back to chemicals, let's talk to what we know, and that is chlorine. So chlorine is a residual gas that's added to the pipework to keep the pipework sterile, if you like. And how they test the water is they test the residual chlorine, and there is a calculation that you do, the amount of water and the amount of chlorine, blah, 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 blah. Talk to the other guy about that. That's not me. Terry, over to you. So you have residual chlorine. Now in certain parts of the country we can taste it, and other parts it's not so bad, but wherever you are there's always a bit of chlorine in the water, and that's because it's put there. So Wessex Water turn up to the edge of the edge of the festival site, and then you have another company that deals with the infrastructure of the water site that's there. Now, certainly through no fault of their own, they are legally required to add chlorine to the system to make sure that interior system is safe to use. Okay, makes sense, good. So there's nobody at fault as to what they're doing. It's just the way things are done. However, in certain parts of the country where the chlorine levels are quite high, I want to introduce you to enemy number one, and that is a trihalomethane. A trihalomethane is a gas which is created when you boil a chlorinated water and you add an organic, such as a tea bag. So if you live in a chlorinated water area, stop adding tea bags because it creates trihalomethane. Now, trihalomethane is not very good, but you with me? Okay. So that's the two things. That's the two things that kind of faced me when I looked at this. Was okay. So we've got the single-use plastics, and we've got the concerns. Okay. So and the latest subjects coming more and more to the forefront is our chemicals in water. Now, read the book Erin Brockovich's, which is a great book. But if you do a bit of research, you will begin to see there's more and more conversation being had about the chemicals in our water. Now, the chemicals are the synthetic compounds that man has created. Now, there's been over 75,000 of those added to our environment since 1953. Now, all of those compounds will get down into the water. That's a separate conversation I'm going to have with you a little bit later. If you want me to, don't have to, but I'm not going to rattle on too long for now on that subject. So we also have the chemical aspect. So my solution is this. Why don't we get rid of the water miles by dealing fundamentally? Now, this is at events, this is at home, this is anywhere in the world. I believe that this is the approach that needs to be had. Take whatever water is closest to you, in whatever condition it is, and just simply purify it back to being wholesome, drinkable water as nature intended. Oh, that sounds great. Sorry, you're going to try and do what, Sparks? I'm going to try. Well, I'm not going to try because it's happening, people. It's happening. What I'm going to tell you is happening. We're going to take whatever local water is close to you, whatever water is close to you, and we're going to purify it back to the state that it was in before man arrived on this earth. We're going to take it back to its original, wholesome, possible drinking function as nature intended for your particular area, wherever you live. So the people of Cumbria have a different requirement than the people of Cambridgeshire. Come and talk to me because I can help. So what's going in the back of the van tomorrow is the portable well, which is the first of our event products, and that well will be able to produce 1,000 litres an hour from a standpipe at your event. Anyway, this is me rattling on. Don't know how long that was. I'm not gonna edit it. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm just gonna post it up. Yeah, a few minutes. Anyway, that was me in the garden. Sun's coming out. I'll see you soon, hopefully, in a field of joy. Back to you after the break. Yeah, you're looking good. Yeah, you're all looking good. Yeah, proud of you all. Nicely.